Okay, let's talk about the bizarre and haunting disappearance of Joan Risch. Joan Risch lived in a suburb of Boston with her husband Martin and their two children Lillian and David. By all accounts, they had a happy life. But that changed on October 24th, 1961. That morning, Martin left at 6:50 a.m. for an 8 a.m. flight at Logan Airport. My mother would be having an anxiety attack about that. It's not enough time. Joan had a normal morning running errands and returned home around 11 a.m. At 1:55 p.m., Joan told Lillian she was going out and walked her over to their neighbor's house. She then returned home alone. At 2 p.m., neighbors saw Joan mowing the lawn in a trench coat. At 2:15, the neighbor watching Lillian saw Joan standing outside next to her car, looking dazed and holding something red in her arms. At 3:20, a neighbor saw an unfamiliar car parked behind Joan's car in their driveway. At 4 p.m., Lillian returned home, but she immediately came back to the neighbor's house. She said her mother was missing, her brother was crying in his crib, and that there was red paint all over the kitchen. Police found the kitchen in a state of disarray. The phone had been ripped from the wall and placed in a bucket in the middle of the floor. There were bloody fingerprints on the phone mount and on the wall. There was blood in the dining room and on the hood and trunk of Joan's car. There was no evidence of forced entry or robbery. Martin was notified at 7 p.m. and he rushed home. There, he found Joan's trench coat, purse, and cash. But her appointment book, her gray topcoat, and her day clothes were missing. Police only found about a pint of blood at the scene, which wasn't enough to indicate that she had been stabbed or shot. And blood samples were found to have been consistent with menstrual blood. Police received multiple reports of sightings of women matching Joan's description, looking disoriented and wandering in the area. One specifically was of a woman wandering by the reservoir in Cambridge, holding her stomach and with blood dripping down her leg. And multiple neighbors were approached by strangers asking where Joan was. One neighbor said that Joan had been out of the house the day before she disappeared for 2 hours, and nobody was able to determine where she was. And another neighbor said they often heard the garage door at the Risch house opening at odd times. Apparently, in the months leading up to her disappearance, Joan had visited the local library at least once a week. She had checked out a lot of books with plots about murders and disappearances. Same, though. The last book Joan checked out before she disappeared was a biography of Mary, Queen of Scots. Joan was declared legally dead in 1975. And Martin never gave up hope that Joan was alive somewhere. This disappearance is still unsolved.